What is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel, and this is my review for the sophomore film by Jordan Peele, Us, which stars Lupita Nyong'o, who I have a huge crush on, by the way, guys. I absolutely love her. I adore her. She's beautiful. And Winston Duke. This movie centers around a family that is going back to the beachfront at which Lupita Nyong'o's character Adelaide had a very traumatic experience when she was a child. They go to this beach house on vacation, and all of a sudden, the first night that they're there, they see this family outside of their driveway who begins to terrorize them and starts to attack them, only to find the people look exactly like the family. This is a movie that I was highly anticipating. I could not wait to see this movie, and it was one of probably, like, if I had to put top 30 or top 25 movies of the year, this is definitely one that I was really looking forward to seeing in the theater. And I will say this, it did not disappoint. This is a movie that is so inventive, so original. There are moments in this film where there's complete suspense, where there are times where you're almost at awe from what you're seeing on the screen. And then there's other times where it definitely balances itself out. It takes its time. It takes a while to really get there, to feel that horror vibe. But once you get that horror, that sense of horror in this film, that's when this movie really begins to just completely go off the rails and just is amazing. It's so good. It's exhilarating. There are some huge things that I love about this movie. I want to get the negatives out of the way first. There's not a lot. One of the big negatives for me, however, is that this film is so predictable. I knew from the beginning of this film how it was going to end. I knew there was going to be certain sequences that were going to be explained at the end that you're going to put together, and it just made a lot of sense in the beginning of my interpretation of what was going to happen, and it came true. I was right. The thing is it wasn't very hard to guess why, because I've seen them so many times in other films. And that's the one thing about this film, is it's a little formulaic in that sense of, you know, a twist or like a shocking ending. It's an ending we've seen done 100 times before, but the way they execute it is actually really solid in this film. Another thing that I don't really like about this film is the ambiguity. Now, what I mean by that is I like that this film is ambiguous, but towards the end of the movie, when they kind of force feed you and, you know, explain everything that's happening and why certain things are happening, I would have much rather preferred that to be more ambiguous. Now, there are things that are still ambiguous. This is a movie I definitely need to see multiple times to kind of understand a little bit more, but the ambiguity could have been a little higher up when it came to the end of the film. I wanted a little bit more ambiguity and not kind of spoon-fed everything that was happening and why certain things were taking place in this film. It's so hard, I cannot spoil it. And it's so hard for me to talk about this without spoiling the movie. I just found myself really awe-inspired by this film. I thought it was breathtakingly gorgeous, the way it was shot, the way it was handled. I thought that the social commentary in this film was a lot lighter than Get Out, which I actually liked. I liked Get Out's simplicity. I liked the way that Get Out had that social commentary into the film, but it didn't do it in such a subtle way. This film does it in such a subtle way where it works. It makes sense. Lupita Nyong'o, I love this woman so much. She was incredible in this film, and it's only March. You know, we're winding towards April, but I will say this. I'm going to make a bold statement. I think Lupita Nyong'o will get nominated for an Academy Award. I think she will get nominated for an Academy Award. It's early. I don't know. I haven't, you know, there's a ton of other performances to see, but what she brought to the table in this film was downright amazing. Because she had to act not only as one character, but she had to act as two completely contractual characters. You have her character, Adelaide, and then you have the other character, Red, and they're completely different, and you buy into it so much. Like, I thought that was going to be one thing in the movie that bothered me, was just the corniness of, like, the actors having to play two characters, but I actually really bought into it. I bought into what they were selling when it came to their acting and when it came to their ability on screen, so I really love that. The score in this movie is fantastic. One of my favorite scores in a horror film in a long time, other than Halloween 2018. I mean, this movie had such an amazing score. This guy, Michael Abels is, I think, his name, he needs to do more stuff. He needs to compose more things, because I loved the score in this film. I also really liked the narrative flow. I like that this film worked in a horror setting. This film is more of a horror film than Get Out. I like Get Out a lot, but Get Out is more of a social thriller as opposed to this film, which is, it goes really for that horror, and it does it in such a great way. There's no jump scares, none of that cheap horror stuff, but what makes this film terrifying, how brutal the film is. There's so much violence in this film, and I love that. And also, the way that these characters are kind of pushed onto the screen. And what I mean by these characters, I mean the character of the contrasting family in this film. They're so creepy, and they do things in such a way that are completely different from the actual family that it makes it terrifying, because I think now to myself, like, do I have somebody who's my opposite in this world who hates me or something like that? And that's what this film does. It offers a lot of questions, and it also kind of gives you this sense of urgency. This is a fantastic movie. I don't want to spoil it, so I'm going to end my review right here. This is a movie you definitely need to go see. This is one of the top films of the year. I don't know if this film is number 1 or number 2. I'm debating that, but man, is this a great time at the theater. Definitely check out Us this weekend. Anyway, guys, make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel for more content, and I will see you guys in my next video. Goodbye.